All right. We're live in Facebook and live on the call. Welcome everybody to our production mastermind. Happy Tuesday. Woohoo. We're past Monday, right? We're almost to Wednesday. It's like perfect day. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see all your faces here. Let's start out with some positive focus. I know sometimes it's hard to think of it, but it's a great way to start out the call and just talk about what's going well. So maybe it's something in the market that was great. Maybe you had something great with a client happen. Maybe you were up against a whole bunch of people for a listing and you got it. Maybe, I don't know, I could guess all day long. You guys are amazing. So I know there's going to be some wins. So I'd love for you guys to share. You can raise your hand. You can just unmute. You can type it into the chat. It's not as great when I say it. It's better when you do. So I'd love for you to talk about your own wins. So go ahead.
Gotta win.
Awesome. Go ahead, Jerry.
So I was just before this meeting, just like 5-10 minutes before this meeting, I was on the phone with Omaha Steaks, and I ordered 3 steak packages for 3 clients for 3 closings. And it was like perspective. He was like, "Wow, great job on the sales." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right. I sold 3 houses." Okay. Right. So all within a short time frame. So I was like, man, I gotta keep that in perspective.
That's right. You got to pat yourself on the back, but it's always nice when someone else notices, right? And kind of brings it to our attention. So congratulations.
Yeah.
And fun fact, I'm only 2.5 hours away from Omaha, if their steaks are really made in Omaha, which they are, but yes. So let me know if you need me to drop by and pick them up. Just kidding. Cami said, got 2 listing appointments today. Good job, Cami. Where did you get the leads on those? Jim Brantley, go ahead and share.
All right, I've got 3.8 million set to close in September, with going to make it 4 million plus because I'm writing an offer today. One of those is a double-sided listing. I got 2 of them are new construction that are finally closing. And yeah, it's the best month I've ever had. And it's just me, my wife, and TC. So pretty excited.
That is awesome. So you're saying that you can sell houses in this market and you don't have to have a big team or like 50 people to make it happen.
Correct. And I've got a listing appointment tomorrow. So.
Nice. Good job. Really good job, Jim. Thanks for the share. That is awesome. Let's see. I want to make sure. Oh, Emily, I'm sorry. I missed yours. I got my first open house this weekend. Awesome. Good luck. I know you'll crush it. Let's see. Joe said, sending an offer to my seller now and have another listing going live tomorrow. Good job. Joe he's been really busy lately and he does a lot of prospecting. So really good job. Stays on it even when, it's not fun. Cami said one was an expired and another FSBO, both luxury properties. Those are her 2 listing appointments. Awesome. Barb said 4 closings in the next 4 weeks, listing appointment tomorrow evening, client under contract after fighting it out in multiples on Saturday. Oh, congratulations. That is awesome. Hello, Glenda. Welcome. Stacy said, best name ever. I got 4 land listings. Congratulations, Stacy. Good job. And newer to us and our group here, which is amazing. Oh, Glenda said, I joined a team and I'm excited about the progress I'm making. Congratulations. Really good job. Tim Pierce. Hello, sir. I see you. We have 16 under contract this month after a very slow start in the beginning of the month. Congratulations. And also new in our group. I love it. Yay.
Good to see you, Stacy.
You too. I love seeing familiar faces. Yes, the whole group, TPG and beast mode. Carlos said closing yesterday, closing Friday, met a new buyer Saturday, group making calls and setting appointments. Good job. Sometimes that's the most unfun part of our job, is kind of making these calls. But if you make it fun, right, and don't have, you know, sort of the expectation that an appointment has to be set every time, but you're kind of building that equity bank of reach outs, and pretty soon it's going to hit, right? You're going to get that person that was like, thank goodness you called. I'm sorry I've ignored all 722 of your emails, but I'm ready to go now, right? You just never know. So really good job. I'm proud of you guys. You're doing great. So today, does anyone else have a positive focus before I keep going? Susan, Ted, Melissa, Kurt, Steven, Ben.
I've got one.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We have a team member and her name is Lael Martin. And she's been on fire lately. Like every time I turn around, I'm doing some marketing about her because she's been listing and selling and, you know, closing deals. She's here if you want to see her.
I do. Let's see.
Let me turn the camera around here. There she is. Can you see her? Say hello.
Yes. Congratulations. You're famous now. All 86 of us are going to watch you now.
Thank you.
Well, that is so awesome. Thank you for introducing us to her and kind of spotlighting her. That's another good thing to do, right? On your socials. Sometimes we're tired about talking about our own wins, even just mentioning things like, hey, I was just on a call. There's an agent that, you know, got 4 listings and is part of our trainings. And, you know, maybe it's not about the training, but you're just highlighting others. It'll help exposure for them, but also you, and just show like you're in business, right? Sometimes we forget all the different things that we can talk about. So that's a great one too, highlighting others. I love it. Sindrika, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. What a pretty name. My first open house Saturday in Memphis. Congratulations. I've been to Memphis. I love it. I think it's a cool place. Ted said, closed on the sale of one of my listings this past week, under contract in 2 days, closed within 21, and got the nicest review I've ever received in 24 plus years. Congratulations. Did they do a review on Google or Zillow or both or Facebook? Where was it?
Trying to find the unmute button there. Yeah, all the above.
Oh, great. Good for you. That is nice. What's some things that they pointed out in their review?
I guess my being personable, professional, and just great communicator. Yeah, I was just flabbergasted when I read the review. So
all wonderful things.
So
yeah. Well, congratulations. That is awesome, Ted.
I didn't mention we actually sold it over list price either. So that still happens too, folks.
Unbelievable. You have to put that on social. Highlight your review, highlight that you sold it over. Good job. Let's see. Steven said, just started back in real estate. Buyer's making an offer, needs to sell his mom's house. I haven't started prospecting yet, but I can't even read. Haven't started prospecting yet. Just letting my sphere know I'm in real estate again. Good job, Steven. Yes, let everyone know you are available and you can help them. Gus, how you doing? He said, should have 7 deals closed this month. 2 Gus's on here. Yes, should have 7 deals closed this month. 2 listings coming up. Summer has been good. Great job. That is a busy summer. Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. I love sharing these because I think it helps all of us just see what's happening, right? And especially if you're having a bad day or whatever, you're not feeling it, maybe this can help you. So thank you to those that shared, and those that didn't, that's okay too. You can continue to type them in the chat if you want to. But today we are going to hit our market report. So we do this every single month, right? So every month We talk about the KCM, which is the national statistics. It tells us a lot about mortgage in case this is your first time here, but also just taking that information and giving it to your clients and then deducing it down to what's happening local, because we want to control that conversation, right? That's one thing that they've taught us is we want to be a confident agent controlling the conversation for our clients so they don't have to wonder what's happening or listen to the news and they're like, what? Why would I sell right now? Every news station is telling me this, or I read this in the paper. Acknowledge it and then tell them what you've learned, right? And I have already put the slides in the Facebook group and I can drop them here as well for those of you that are not part of that group. No problem. I'll do that while we're watching, but we will get started here and watch our monthly market report. And just my disclaimer, like last time, it's kind of easy to check out when we're watching a video, but don't. Write down some points, right? Just have your bullet points of this is how I'm going to use the information. This is what I'm going to say about it, because they give us a lot and a lot of stats. So write down what's most important to you. You'll always be able to rewatch this. And then also at the end, let's all share some thoughts about it. Because again, it's nice to hear other perspectives. We all pick up something else. So yes. All right, there we go. Oh, whoops, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Ted, can you see Keeping Current Matters on my screen? Perfect. Okay. I'm going to look to you as well for the volume. So you tell me if it needs to go up or down. Okay.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Steve Harney, the founder of Keep Current Matters, with our August 2023 monthly market report. And boy, is it jam-packed, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of headlines. There are a lot of confusing headlines. And what we have to make sure, we have to make sure, is that we're realizing how confused the consumer is. Because if the consumer is confused, that confusion can turn into concern pretty quickly, and that concern can turn into fear pretty quickly, and that fear can turn into paralysis pretty quickly. So what our job is to make sure that you have the answers to a lot of the questions that are in your consumers' heads so that you can remove the confusion and make them feel comfortable. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, there's a lot of confusion out there right now. And remember, in times of uncertainty, people follow the certain. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you understand what's taking place, and you don't understand it well enough just to understand it. You have to know it well enough and understand it well enough to explain it. That's a different level. At KCM, we oftentimes talk about you want to go at it not with the heart of a salesman, with the heart of a teacher. Well, the teacher understands the subject matter they teach, and you have to understand this subject matter. For example, the consumer survey of home prices. This is a survey that's done every month where Fannie Mae asks consumers, do you think prices are going to go up over the next 12 months or down over the next 12 months? These are the December numbers from 2010 through 2022. And it's very obvious what we see there. Going into this year, last December, heading into this year, 2023, it was the highest number of people, highest percentage of people, consumers, that thought prices were going to go down over the next 12 months. That's because we had some crazy headlines. So we came into this year with a lot of concern by the consumer, maybe even fear. And those headlines were examples like this: a 20% home price decline, 7 forecast models of leading crash. Here's where the other 13 models have the 2023 housing market going. If you look at the little red box, that was in December 7th, 2022, Fortune magazine. So in December of 2022, just a couple of months back, what winds up taking place is Fortune was saying we might see a 20% home price decline. Well, no wonder people were afraid. And let's take a look at how deep that fear was. Here is that same consumer confidence survey going all the way back to June 10th. The only reason I didn't bring it back into 2006 and prior to 2006, they didn't take the survey back there. The first survey they ever took was June 10th, and that's where we start this. But what we can see in the aftermath of the housing crash, there were a lot of people concerned prices were going to continue to fall. Then things settled out as we got to 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. And obviously, in the spring of 2020, when the pandemic hit, everyone thought prices were going to crash. All right, so there was a lot of fear there. And we helped you, Casey, and we helped you get through the consumer fear at that point in time. Then things settled down a little bit as we were going forward, still a little bit rocky, with the pandemic and what's really going to happen. Then all of a sudden, with all of this talk of a repeat of the 2008 crash toward the end of last year, look at those red numbers. They dwarf what happened in the aftermath of the housing crash. And for a length of time, they dwarf the pandemic fear. People were very, very, very concerned. So you can see that that red bar is falling as we go through June, the last survey taken. But what we can see here, ladies and gentlemen, it started in January 37, the same number we had December, and we are getting better. But again, ladies and gentlemen, that number 26 is way too many people are still concerned that prices are going to depreciate. And we have to turn that around. And I want you to understand what that 26% represents. That's 1 in 4 still believe that house prices are going to depreciate. So if you're sitting at a table with 8 of your family for dinner, 2 people sitting at that table, the prices are going to fall. If you go to, a barbecue, a neighborhood barbecue, and there are 80 people there, 20 of them think prices are going to fall. If you walk out of your house of worship this weekend, and there are 400 people in the house of worship walking out the front door with you, 100 of them think prices are going to fall. That's a lot of people. We have to make sure that we get the word out there that prices are not falling. And the only thing we know, facts shatter fear. Facts shatter fear. We have to have the facts. We have to share the facts to get people, less afraid of what's going to happen with prices. Now, the reason that all those crazy headlines were occurring last fall and winter was, in fact, most economists thought that people would panic and put their home on the market. They said, well, with mortgage rates rapidly rising, with the talk of a recession coming, people were going to be afraid of 2008 all over again, and they were going to rush all their houses to the market. And that oversupply was going to cause a challenge. As a matter of fact, Bill McBride talked directly to that. Just recently, he put this out. As inventory picked up sharply in 2022, I adjusted my outlook in October 2022, and wrote house prices 7 years in purgatory. I noted that a 10% decline in nominal prices now seemed likely. He talked about we were going to be in a depreciation state, minor, but a depreciation state for 7 years, and the prices might drop 10%. But then, that's what he said then, this is what he just came out with. However, the inventory surge in 2022 was somewhat of a head fake. Some potential sellers quickly listed their homes, probably remembering what happened with house prices in the 2006 to 2011 period, but that surge ended pretty quickly. Let me graph what he's saying. The gray, light blue, and dark blue lines are 2017, 2018, and 2019. There is a seasonality to new listings coming to the market. It builds into the spring, and then coming May, it starts to drop off and then drops off more dramatically when the winter months come. That happens every year. That's nothing to be surprised at. There's nothing to be concerned about. That's the normal seasonality of new listings coming to the market. But the break point is normally May. You see that black dotted line coming down? Last year, the red line, we saw that it didn't all of a sudden break in May. It continued for a month upward. When economists saw that, when market analysts saw that, they said, oh my God, this is going to shoot up and shoot up all the way to the right. We're going to have a tremendous amount of new listings coming to the market. At the same time, interest rates are going up, which is going to really squeeze demand. A high supply, a low demand, prices are going to come crashing down. The only thing is that didn't happen. They went up for 1 month, what Bill McBride in the previous slide talked about, a head fake. And then what happened? they dropped like a rock. Lower than they were in 2017, 2018, and 2019. We didn't have too many listings. We had too few listings. Now, the other thing that a lot of the economists said was, well, with the recession and the end of the moratorium, we're going to have a tsunami of foreclosures. So they assumed there was a whole bunch of sellers going to be putting the house on the market, and there were a whole bunch of foreclosures coming. Well, they got that wrong too. This is foreclosures in the first 6 months of each of the years. So what we can see is we're nowhere near 2008, 2009, 2010 numbers. We're not anywhere close to that. We are a little higher than last year because the moratorium's over. And you will actually see headlines saying we're 185% above 2021 numbers, the number of foreclosures. And that quote, that headline is not inaccurate. We are 185% above 2021 numbers. So I can't say they're lying. What I'm saying is they're not giving you the proper perspective. Because in 2021, there was a moratorium. It was almost impossible to foreclose on a house. So of course, we're way up over that 65,000 number, because that's the lowest number going all the way back to 2008, and probably long before that. We're going to get back in foreclosures to normal numbers, somewhere around 500,000, because every year things happen. People lose their jobs, people get sick, people get divorced, and they don't handle it well. All right, so what winds up taking place is, yeah, we're going to have normal foreclosures like we did in, 16, 17, 18. All right, this is the first half numbers. We're going to get back up to those numbers. All right, and then the full year numbers are going to be somewhere around 500,000. That's the average. But that's going to be okay. That's what happens. Now, it's a terrible thing for those families, especially if they're children. I'm not saying that's a good thing for those families. What I'm saying is a normal number of foreclosures coming to the market is not going to crush the market. If anything, right now, we need the inventory. That's not the way I want to get it. And then people are saying, well, with a recession coming or the fear of a recession and things happening, they're even saying now people are not paying their mortgages. I don't even know where they're getting those numbers or those facts. People are paying their mortgages. As a matter of fact, if you look at the most current seriously delinquency numbers, people are 90 days, 3 months payments behind, those numbers are falling like a rock. There are more and more people paying their mortgage, not more and more people not paying their mortgage. So they just had that way off. So what actually did happen in prices last year and going into the end of last year? Well, in order to do that, well, before we get there, talking about the delinquency rate, May's overall mortgage delinquency rate matched the all-time low, and serious delinquencies followed suit. Furthermore, the rate of mortgages that were 6 months or more past due, a measure that ballooned in 2021 because they were in the moratorium and so they didn't pay their mortgage, has receded to a level last observed in March 2020. So we're back to normal numbers before the pandemic. And going back to Bill McBride, he called the crash in 2006 or 2008. He was right on top of that. He received a lot of accolades for knowing that was going to happen. And this is what he said in November 2008 about foreclosures. Foreclosure activity is already at record levels. Yet as prices fall, foreclosure activity will probably continue to increase. The activity will be literally off the chart. That's what he said back then. This is what he said last week. 2 weeks ago. There will not be a foreclosure crisis this time. Ladies and gentlemen, that's over. Well, what is going to happen with prices? Well, first of all, let's take a look back to last year. What actually happened with home prices in 2021? I want you to see, this is the 48-year average, not seasonally adjusted. How much prices, according to Kay-Shiller, how much do prices actually go up every month? And there's a seasonality to it. As the home buying season comes into play in the spring, prices go up more substantially. Then as the year goes on, they don't go down. There's no red bars there, but the level of appreciation decelerates. And that's a big difference between those two, ladies and gentlemen. There's a big difference between depreciation and deceleration of appreciation. Houses in October, November, December still go up, just not as high to the same level as they do earlier in the year. Well, let's take a look at last year. First, I'm going to minimize this graph so we can add things to it. That's this graph minimized. Well, if we take a look at what happened in 2022, we blew away normal appreciation. The first month, we were 10 times greater than normal. The second month, we were more than 6 times greater. The next month, we were more than 4 times greater. The next month, we were 2.5 times greater. Of course, we couldn't sustain that. Or sustain it. So what winds up taking place is at the end of the year, there had to be a correction, and there was. That's normal. That's what happened last year. It wasn't a pretense that prices are going to fall 20%. We had too high appreciation at the beginning, at the first half of the year, and it got corrected in the second half of the year. So what's going to happen this year? Well, we already have a feeling for that. Let's go back to the appreciation numbers. This is normal appreciation. And let's take a look at the 48-year average compared to what's happened so far this year. Now, we use the resale numbers so that you can see it, the repeat sale numbers. So it takes them a little long. So May is the last numbers out. The June numbers will be out in a couple of weeks. All right. These are the last numbers available. But what we can see is we were below normal appreciation in the first month, below normal appreciation in the second month, and much closer to normal appreciation in the next couple of months. So what we can see, ladies and gentlemen, the challenge last year was pretty simple. The challenge last year, we got crazy at the beginning of the year. We made a correction. And now we're going back to a more normal market. And that's not me saying that. That's not KCM saying that. Let's take a look at all of the major price indexes. Case-Shiller, FHFA, CoreLogic. They all show the same thing. Then they look at slightly different data. FHFA only looks at government sponsored loans. Case-Shiller looks at more loans. So the data is a little bit different. So the numbers are slightly different. But basically, ladies and gentlemen, it's the same trending. We had too good a first half last year. We had a correction, and now we're coming back from that correction. And if you don't believe those three, let's keep on going. Zillow, Black Knight, and Freddie Mac all say the same thing again. Your appreciation was too high last year, and it was adjusted, and it's coming back the other side. Now, some people are saying, well, there's still places in the market, like Austin, Texas, or Boise, Idaho. Those places are still suffering. San Francisco, San Diego, or whatever the case may be. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that some metros have not caught up to where they were at the height of June of last year. I get that. But let's take a look at the overall picture, not just like the last year's picture. Because if those people didn't sell, and if they bought a house a year ago to sell it right now, that was just a bad move no matter what happened. Because they had all those costs of buying the house that they would not be able to recoup. As long as they stay in the house, I think things are going to be okay. What gives me that feeling? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here are the 20 cities that are looked at by patient. And this is what happened since March 2020, a little over 3 years ago. Again, remember, these are May numbers. All right, so percentage change. Look at it. People are saying, oh, the poor people of Phoenix. No, I get it. They're running through some difficult times right now. But they just came off 3 years that whatever house they owned went up over 50%. Tampa's up 63.8%. That appreciation that they wrote over the last 3 years has given them great wealth. Did some of these cities have to give back some of that wealth? Yeah. But they're on the return back now. The only city that's not showing month over month appreciation right now is Phoenix. They're down 0.1%. I guarantee you, next report, they'll be in the positive too. So the worst is behind us, and over the last year. And if we look to the 3 years prior to that, and by the way, this includes the last year. If we look at the 3 years prior to that, ladies and gentlemen, buying a house made all the sense in the world. And if you bought one last June, people say, well, what happens if they bought it in June at the height? Well, I looked it up. They also got, if they bought it at the beginning of June, they also got a 5.04 mortgage rate. The monthly expense is less than if they bought one right now. They didn't get hurt. And if they stay in the house, they'll get back the equity they've lost. But as far as their monthly mortgage payment is concerned, They actually did better off buying last year and at the higher price and the lower mortgage rate. So a lot of people throwing fear around where I don't know if the fear is there or should be there. There is no doubt that the housing market has reignited from a price perspective. Firming prices have now fully erased the pullback we tracked through the last half of 2022. They're talking about nationally, and lifted the seasonally adjusted Black Knight home price index to a new record high in May. So what is Andy Walden saying? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, from a national perspective, we've already got everything back. Now, again, I know there's some cities that did it. But let's take a look at how far some people were off. And I appreciate the people I'm about to show you. There were a whole load of people that said we're going to fall 20% and they disappeared. They're not coming out with forecasts now. So I appreciate these people saying, this is what we said and this is how we're going to correct it. The original forecast from December of last year is in that middle column. The Mortgage Bank Association said prices were going to go down a little less than 1%. Fannie Mae said 1.5%. Morgan Stanley said 4%. AEI said 15 to 20%. Zillow said they were going to go down a little less than 1%, and CoreLogic said they were going to go up 3%. Now look at the last column. MBA says, well, they're going to be flat. And I bet you with the next one, they're going to be up a little bit. Next forecast for the end of the year. Fannie Mae went for 1.5% decrease this year. Then now we're going to see a 4% appreciation at the end of the year. Morgan Stanley said we're going to lose money. We're going to break even. Look at AEI. They went from we could lose 20% to now we're going to go up 6%. That's how much confusion there was in the market last year. There's also we're going to lose a little less than 1. Now they're saying we're going to have a good year. We're going to be up 5.5. And CoreLogic affected theirs also to a more positive number. But remember what's going to happen. Remember the appreciation, the seasonality of it. What is going to wind up taking place as we go through the rest of this year, as the month-over-month number isn't as high as it was the month before. Not saying houses are losing value. They're not just climbing at the same number they were the month before. You know what the headlines are going to say? Prices are coming down. They will be wrong, and they won't care. We have to get out in front of this. It's crucial that we get out in front of this, ladies and gentlemen, crucial. So, what do we know? Exactly what I said. Deceleration of appreciation is not the same thing as home prices are depreciating. Again, there's no red bars here. We didn't say depreciation. And we might, by the end of this year, might have 1 month that's a red bar. I'm not saying that's not possible. All I'm saying is when they see appreciation decelerating, they're going to say prices are falling, and that's not true. Those headlines are going to drive fear. If we can get out in front of those headlines and let people know, we'll be much better off. And the reason that I know prices are going to be okay is look at the inventory situation. People say, well, inventory is up. Yeah, it's up this week. But let's look at it same week in 2022 and the same week in 2019. There's a shortage of inventory and a resiliency in the buyers. Even 7% mortgage rates hasn't appeared to scare them. We need listings, ladies and gentlemen. We need them badly. There are simply not enough homes for sale. The market can easily absorb a doubling of inventory from Lawrence Young. But we have to help the people, ladies and gentlemen. In the seller's market, sellers often think that they don't need an agent because anyone can sell a house during a favorable period. They see those lines outside the open house. They say, there's plenty of buyers out there. I can sell them. However, it's important to remember that agents don't sell houses. KCM members definitely don't sell houses. Rather, they facilitate, they consult, and they protect their clients through the process. That's who you are. You're the best of the best. Let's help these people understand what's taking place. Mortgage rates. Here's the projection going forward. If you look at the left-hand column going down, we start at the fourth quarter of 2023 and go to the third quarter of 2024. That's the forecast. We're already in the third quarter of this year, so the forecast in the next 4 quarters. And we gave you the Fannie Mae, the Mortgage Bank Association, and the National Association of Realtors. Then we averaged all 3. And what we can see is everyone seems to think that by the end of this year we'll be somewhere close to 6. And then as we go through next year, we're going to break the 6 number into the 5s. And that's going to be crucially important, ladies and gentlemen. I really think that the sellers that are locked in because of their mortgage rates, they have a 3 or 4 percent mortgage rate. They're not going to take a 7. They might take a low 6. But I think the magic number, and Zillow just came out with a survey showing this, once we break into the 5s, things are going to get crazy. And that's good news. And why are they thinking this? Well, part of the reason that mortgage rates are up right now is because of inflation and what Chairman Powell is doing in regard to, the rate hikes. Now, it's not a direct, correlation between what he's doing and the 10-year Treasury, and then the spread of the 10-year Treasury. It's a very complicated equation that I've been trying to figure out for 35 years and still haven't been able to figure it out. And obviously, with all the crazy projections that are out there, no one's been able to figure it out. But this is what I do know. What's taking place is the reason Chairman Powell is doing what he's doing is because he's trying to drive inflation down to the 2% number. That's the number they're comfortable with. Once we hit 2%, then what's going to wind up taking place is he's going to back off. Once he backs off, then we're going to see the 10-year Treasury probably lower a little bit, and we'll see the spread lower a lot. The spread being the difference between the 10-year Treasury and the mortgage rate. That difference is usually under 2 for the last 50 years. It's been under 2. Or if it's average, well under 2, I should say. All right. But right now it's over 3. But if that 10-year Treasury comes down and the spread comes down, we'll be in the 5s. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Now, some people have asked me, some members have asked me, well, Steve, we're close enough. We're at 3. Look, we went from almost 9 to 3. Can't he just pull the plug down and stop the uncertainty of what he's going to do next? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason for that. I'm not trying to defend anyone. I'm trying to just let you know the reason he's thinking. If we look at the gray circle on the left, what we can see is back in April of 72, inflation skyrocketed all the way up to 12.2%. The Fed did what the Fed needed to do in raising rates, and it dropped tremendously. It dropped to about 5%. They thought that was good enough. However, they didn't lower it enough. So as soon as they hit that number, they backed up, they took their foot off the gas, and inflation shot back up to 14.6%. That's what Powell is afraid of. If he stops too soon, if he stops short of the 2%, it's just going to shoot right back up. And what we're in now, the malaise we're in now, is going to continue. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, let's bring it to 2 and get it over with. And ladies and gentlemen, understand that I've used this analogy in a couple of different places, so I apologize if you've heard it before. You don't own a McDonald's, you own an Apple store. So your McDonald's, if it snows and the roads are backed up and people all stuck at home, the McDonald's lose their business. They don't do breakfast, they don't do lunch, they don't do dinner. They lose that business because those people don't not eat until the snow melts. They continue to eat, so they're just not going to do it at McDonald's. An Apple store is different. If someone was going to go buy an iPad and all of a sudden the snow came and they were stuck home, well, once the snow is shoveled, once the snow melts, once the roads are cleared, they're going to the Apple store for that iPad. Apple doesn't lose one sale because of a snowstorm. But what does happen is once the snow is cleared, they get the normal sales of that day and they get the backup of the snowstorm. Let's assume it's 3 days. The 3-day backup of people all of a sudden hitting their store in the next couple of days. So they get a rush of business. They don't lose any sale. Same thing with us. Because of the craziness right now, that's not going to stop people that just had a child from buying a house. It's not going to stop someone that just got divorced from selling their house. None of that's going to happen. We're going to get all those sales. They're going to come in a rush to us as interest rates start to come down. Let's be ready for that. Be patient for that. And I do think it's going to be soon. Here's the inflation rate versus the 30-year fixed. And what we can see, the inflation rate is in blue. When the inflation rate comes down, mortgage rates come down. Well, the inflation rate just dropped like a rock. And ladies and gentlemen, I think the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is going to do the same thing. Can I guess when? No. This is what I've learned. In 35 years, nobody knows exactly when. But we can look at the indicators and say, it's not that far away, because I think that's true. But the single most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that we can't be afraid. We have to be out there. We have to explain to the consumer what's taking place. We have to take the fear out of the market. We have to make sure that we understand that. Facts shatter fear. Let's go out there and give them the facts. That's crucially important. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a survey, and I will repeat the survey for the rest of the year. We've done by 1,000 watt. A good friend of mine, Mark Davidson, is one of the founders. This is the percentage of homeowners who desire to sell their home within 6 months, who are more inclined to do so after speaking to an agent. All right, let's go over that again. If they spoke to an agent, 2 out of 3 are more inclined to go ahead and put the house on the market. You know what that tells me? We have to speak to more people. We have to make sure we're in front of as many consumers as we possibly can. I don't care if you do that with doing a video on TikTok. I don't care if you do that with a mailing. I don't care if you do that door knocking. I don't care if you do that putting up a table out during, county fair. I don't really care how you're in front of the people. You make that decision, what your business plan is. All I'm saying is up it. Get in front of more people. The way we're going to turn this thing around is exactly that. Well, that's this month's deep dive, but I have a couple of announcements to make just so that you know. We're really getting a tremendous response to our deep dives on Monday morning. You can look at the replays if you'd like. We've covered prices in a much deeper way.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Let's, you guys had some good conversation definitely going in the chat about, it is true. There are a lot of sellers that are afraid, not afraid maybe to sell, but they just don't feel compelled to sell because all they're looking at is the interest rate, right? So some of you that are having those conversations, or maybe now you'll have new tools to talk to them about. But what are some things that you can talk to your clients? Could be a buyer as well, right? They're having to change their criteria because the rates are higher now. What are you saying to them to help them with this information so they can determine if it is the right time for them to buy or sell? You can drop them in the chat, unmute, whatever. We'll just get a little conversation going. One thing I can think of is these rates are not forever, right? So right now they have less competition in the market. They're not facing as many multiple offers. They're not facing as much competition. Sellers, for your buyer, sellers are being much more reasonable, right? If they're buying something, they could refinance over time. We can show them now these stats, right? It looks like next year, the rates are going to come down. So if we see the home that you like, you may have a smaller amount of time with big rates, what you consider bigger rates, and then they can come down and you can refinance, right? You might get a better price right now too. Even though there are less buyers out there, the buyers that are out there are motivated to buy. If the house is nice, ready to go, right, priced well, it'll sell. Let's see. Richie says, no motivation and unrealistic. If we don't get our price, we don't have to sell. Yep, you have to find the life-changing sellers. Yep, so we're not looking for everybody in this kind of market because not everybody is willing to do something in this type of market. But we can create that inventory by looking for the people, like Richie said, that are having life changes, right? Divorce, I think there's like an acronym for it, but it's like divorce, death, babies, empty nesters, I suppose. I don't know. Somebody probably knows what the actual acronym is. I don't. Barb says they can recast later. Recast. What does that mean, Barb? It might have been you were saying it with something and I missed it. Melissa said, with the house appreciation rate, the cost of waiting is high. That's right. What a good point. He showed that. I actually texted my dad and I said, Dad, Phoenix had 54.2% appreciation since March of 2020. So they winter near Phoenix, right? And he bought some properties right in 2020. So I'm like, hey, look, good job. You know, I wish I was your realtor then. But I don't sell in Arizona. Matt Greco, marry the house, date the rate. That's right. Right? Just reminding people of that. Richie said, my first home in 2001 was 6.125%, and that was good. Yeah, we just had this time of like, you know, low rates, as we all know. Oh, refinance. Yes, Barb, refinance. Duh, sorry. Ted said many lenders are offering no cost refis, which soften the blow when buyers as well as sellers are starting their mortgage rate higher, and they may currently have or was out there a little while ago. Good point, right? A lot of lenders offer that no cost refi. Oh, here, Frederico knew probate, divorce, relocation, bankruptcy, foreclosure, all market proof. Barb is explaining to me because I didn't know, when the rate dips, they can have the lender recast the loan in some cases at a nominal or zero fee and lock in the new rate. Divorce, death, the job, and death again. If they die twice, we're good to go. Jim said, once rates come down, prices will shoot up. Buy now and refinance. Yep. How would you package this up and market it? So one thing that we've kind of talked about on these calls is, and you may be talking about how do they package up a rate and a price, and you might be talking about that, Sohail. But as far as getting this message out to our clients, I think taking the few bullet points that he said, and it's nice that Steve Harvey, that was Steve, or Harney, not Harvey, Steve Harney did this one, because he talks much slower, right? And he kind of dives a little deeper than if David does it, he talks really fast. And the guy that we had last time, I can't remember what his name was, but so you can watch this recording back and, you know, kind of get some of those bullet points. But Sohail, if you had a point about packaging up for your clients, we can definitely expand on that. So let me know. Joe said, oh yeah.
Sorry, it was just packaging the message to clients, just market in a market piece. That's all.
Yeah, no, very good. So do you have some suggestions, or are you looking for some?
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm just curious from everybody in here how they would package it up and deliver the message to clients.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Don't be afraid. I won't bite. Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead and break it down into a couple different videos. So what I used to do, and I actually got away from the videos because I hate doing them, but yes, Stacy, I'll start doing them again. The consumer confidence one, grab one or two slides from that, put it as a backdrop or something, and point out that everybody, you know, you thought prices were going to crash, but as you can see, market inventory has been really tight lately and prices have remained stable. They did a small adjustment at the end of last year, but as you can see from what we have in our local market here, prices remain pretty constant. That's due to the low inventory we have. With interest rates where they are and the rate adjustments that we have, you can go ahead and get into a home now and let the price continue to stay strong and continue to grow. The crash that everybody's been fear mongering about did not happen. And I don't see it happen. If you want to learn more, go ahead and comment below, learn more, and we'll get in a one-on-one conversation. Look forward to hearing from you. You can do the same thing with the price adjustment with the peak. You can do the same thing with the foreclosure, fear of foreclosures. That's where I do a lot of my work, is with expireds and foreclosures. Somebody put in the chat thread that those are market-proof areas to focus at. Just grab one or two slides, make a 2-minute video on it, and put it on your social, put it on your YouTube channel, and send it out in an email to everybody in your database.
Yeah, really good. Great job on the video too. That you're going to do after this because you just did it for us right here. We will look for it. We will comment and like and share. Yeah, I think a lot of it, one statistic at the end that he said, 64.5% of people are inclined to sell their home after talking to an agent. So if it took us prior to this, maybe the ratio was like 25-1, like 2 years ago, 25 calls to 1 appointment. Okay. It might be 100-1 right now, but sometimes we just aren't putting out enough effort, in terms of being consistent with reaching out to people, or like he mentioned, video, direct mail, prospecting, door knocking. I have heard more door knocking, like start door knocking in the last like 3 weeks than I think I had ever heard. And it's just because people are trying to find new ways to connect, right? It doesn't mean that's going to be your way. Maybe you're big on video, but whatever you do, it is going to take more than normal. And it's just being consistent, right? Time over task, time over task over time, time on task over time. I'm really nailing it today with the quips and all the things, but yeah. So taking this information, you're going to have the slides we post the recording. I put that below. We post the recording in the 2 places. So you'll have it there. If you're a guest with us today, then you can reach out to the person that invited you. But, going back and kind of screenshotting some of that, you can do that green screen on the videos, people are really good at doing, or just post it. If you don't like to be on video, post just the slide and write a little thing about it, or put it in ChatGPT and say, how would I make this into a great post on Instagram, right? Or on Facebook. So make it easy on yourself for sure. Richie, go ahead. Sorry, I missed your hand.
Yeah, no problem. Steve also said something that was really cool, because I think what's going to happen now is the market's going to turn around and we're all going to start getting a bunch of listings or going on listing appointments. And I think we're going to lose over price, right? And what I love what he says, we don't determine the price. We don't sell the home. We protect you. We facilitate the transaction, right? And we consult during that thing. And I think having that type of mindset and even putting that into your spiel coming up in today's market where people are going to have COVID unrealistic pricing, you kind of say that. And what made me really think about that is Dan Snyder just sold the Redskins here in our area, DC. He listed his home for $50 million on the water, and it's only been on the market for about 2 months, and he just reduced it 30%. So he reduced it $15 million. So telling people that this guy who's a billionaire, how smart he is, right? And yet he overpriced the home 15 million. It's been on the market for 60 days, right? So cool stuff like that might help us talk it up a little during these listing appointments, which might get tight, coming up.
Yeah, that's really good. And I love that. I love people also connect with the stories, right? So you knew that. So if you have a seller that's like mad about their pricing, right? You can say, look, this guy has probably the best advisors out there. He didn't hire me, and then tell the story about he was overpriced too and had to take, a price reduction. So pricing is key, condition is key, right? Very good. Great share, Richie. Anybody else want to share how they're either going to use the information or, put it out there? Maybe you're going to commit to calls. You're like, I'm going to call 5 people after this and give them these stats and talk to them about it. Or today, when I make my calls to all my sellers, I'm going to talk about these 3 things, 1 thing, 2 thing, whatever.
I think if anything,
yeah, go ahead, Jude.
I want to continue attending and learning different programs like that one that was displayed, Sun Stats and things, so I can read it better and also interpret it to the clients. So I'm just recognizing a weakness in me that I have to strengthen myself so that I can read this data and convey it properly to my sellers and buyers.
That's great. And I think we all do. You know, I couldn't have spit out any of that information, or if I even would have saw the slides without listening to him talk about it, you know, I couldn't either. So it's another reason, and that's why we come to these, right? So we can master our craft, we can speak confidently to our clients and help move them along. So I love that. And KCM, what we just watched, it's a subscription service, and it's like $19, maybe $29 a month. That's it. And they have so much material in there. Like they have buyer guides, seller guides, just lots of stuff. It's well worth it. So if you're like, I love this, you know, how do I get more from KCM? That's how you do it. It's just keepingcurrentmatters.com. And yeah, you can get your own subscription as well. Okay, I'm going to drop, actually, I just put the link to the slides in my drive for you. They're also posted with the recordings, but here's the slides for some of you that just need them right here, right now. So you have them, so you can go shoot your videos as well. But yeah, anything else before we let you go for the week? Nothing to add. Oh, Glenda said, I'm cold calling 2 hours a day and it takes me about 100 calls to get an appointment. Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing those stats. So that's exactly what we were talking about. If before you felt like 25 led to an appointment, right now it's closer to 100. And of course, depending on the lead source, but it should just give you all confidence that, you know, now is just a great time to be making these calls, making these investments, trying to connect with as many people as you can, add value, add value, add value. It doesn't have to be buy from me, sell with me, I'm the best realtor, I know all this stuff. No, just add value. You know, hey, I thought I'd connect with you, talk to you about this. You know, here's what's happening. I was on a call today. I thought it would be useful information. I shot a video. I can send it to you if you want more, but just wanted to connect, right? It could be as simple as that. Easy stuff, easy stuff. Facts shatter fear. Exactly. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that you attended. We love doing these calls. Next week, I forgot the topic. I should know. I do not off the top of my head, but we will see you guys next week, and reach out if you need anything. And we love seeing you. We hope that you just like crush the listings. You're like the confident agent when you come back next week. So take care. Thanks, guys.
Basic question.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
What's the name of the Facebook group so I can join?
Yes, it is Game Changers Nation. Game Changer Nation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yep.